see the Plant Lovers sweatshirt, you can head over to grownontuesday.com. Head on over there, guys. Take a look at the website. I'm adding stuff to it every day, just about. I bought like materials and things that I've been waiting to use and looking for the perfect time. So as orders start coming in, I'm able to take their ideas and boom, put them on there. So yeah, head over there, support me if you want to. Just take a look at it and see if I have anything you like. But other than that, though, guys, today we are going to be talking about our English ivies. When did we do a repot on this? Was it about 2 weeks ago? 1 week, 2 weeks ago? Well, I'm going to give you the update on what's going on, the good, the bad, the ugly. So far, I can say we still have green in some of these are brown. True disclosure, like I told you all before, when we did the repotting of the plant, we were suffering with root rot, or it was at least some type of overwatering going on. I hate to use the word root rot because that just implies that the plant is almost completely dead, which I did not feel like that, but I did feel like the plants was being completely overwatered in that big pot that we had. I have it around here. Let's see here. Hold on. Here it is. This huge pot is what I had these plants in. So you can see why we was dealing with some issues. And remember, I talked about these did catch mealy bugs about a year ago inside of here. So over the summertime, I set them outside just to see how they was going to do because I didn't want to just throw away any type of plant. Hey, Shawn, good to see you this morning. Good morning, Seymours. And I set them outside just to see what was going to happen, and they did really well. I built a little shade over top of the back of the porch. It was not the best looking, and this year I'm going to have to do a better job because wife did complain about it a little bit. She just said it looked a little junky, so she said something, so I'm going to fix it because as long as I'm allowed to get away with doing my plants and stuff, I'm going to do whatever I need to do, right? So I built a little shade over it that protected the sun from being able to come straight in. Good morning, Shawn. Good morning, Angel. Angela. Might be saying it right. The words came off the screen so fast. What's going on, BNB? So I set them outside just to kind of see what was going to happen, and boom, there we go. Here's where we're at. So summertime came. Everything did good. Oh, I was talking about the shade. I'm sorry. Shade protected the sun from beaming directly in, and it still allowed just the perfect, I guess, sunlight enough just to come through. It was pretty dark. I'm going to tell you what I used. I used what you use to put down like on a bed of grass if you get ready to do vegetables after you dig up the soil to make sure you don't have any grass or anything else to come through. That's what I ended up using. So I put that over top of it, and it did great. I also had a monstera that was growing out there, and that did well too, and that's inside the house, actually in our bedroom. But we did the repot of these English ivies because of the water basically was just being retained inside the pot for extremely too long. I already knew that was the issue. When I would water the plant, I would try to modestly water it, but because of those roots was just in such different places, it was hard for me just to say, well, this is where the root is at. This is where the root was at. I tried doing it for like 2 or 3 months. So ultimately, I saw the plant just dying. Now, I did not like being in the bedroom and seeing any type of dying plant for that matter, but the fact is I'm just sitting over here just watching this plant die like, come on, Shawn, you got to do something, figure it out. So that's what we did. We put them into these smaller pots because A, that's going to allow us to be able to water our plants without drowning our roots. And full disclosure, I got ready to pick these up and one of them fell. So I had to put a little bit of soil into it, should be fine. Now let's just talk about the condition of these. Now keep in mind that I did not water these during a repot, so they are really dry. It's time for watering. No, I would not recommend you allow these to dry out like this because what happens, you'll see these leaves turn brown and they're never coming back. So do not let your plant dry out completely, okay, for your English ivy. But the reason why I did it was because I was dealing with overwatering and I wanted these just to go completely dry. Looking at the fact that we do have some green that's going on, healthy looking green, that lets me know the repot was successful, but they are thirsty and I need to go ahead and take care of it. And I'm also going to go ahead and trim off anything like this that's dead because it's not going to do us any good. Now, one thing I'll tell you, don't be too nervous about cutting your plant, and even if you have to cut it all the way down to the soil multiple times, it's okay. All right. The only person judging you is you. Okay. I was so worried about if I cut my plant down, I'm gonna lose the size. If I lose its time, then that loses proof that I know what I'm doing. Sometimes you just run into a hiccup. You can have a plant for 3 or 4 years and something strange happen and you got to start all the way over. Now you can be stubborn and continue to let the disease just keep on working its way through the plant because you just can't seem to fathom the thought of having a small plant. But ultimately you're going to lose the plant. So the responsible thing is it's okay, count your losses and keep it moving. Now, this is the part that we always say, and it's true. When you cut that plant all the way back, it grows back way stronger, and usually it looks way better, okay? But anyway, let's go ahead and cut this. I'll be honest with y'all guys, I haven't had a chance to be in my plant room to be able to do this work that we're doing here, so I guess that's a good thing because of being here. Hold on, let me read this message. I don't get to catch you live that often because I teach this time. I wanted to tell you. Oh, sorry, this bounces off. I wanted to tell you I especially love you filtering them, but you do a great on the real job of plants. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. What's going on, Gigi? Good morning. I know, and I tried to move my time to be like in the evening time so I can kind of catch everybody because I know everybody's usually at work or doing something. It's a busy part of the day, but I just couldn't be consistent. I was like, you know what? Even if it's somebody who wants to come that can't come, at least they can check the video out and we can still all be here. I do appreciate whenever you can be able to stop through. So what I'm doing is just cutting off these parts that does no good and just trashing it. And then we're gonna really water these plants. And guys, yeah, I haven't had a chance to really be inside the room as much because business is starting to pick up a little bit. Now I'm not going over and saying about my company just going, but our other company. So we've been getting a lot of repeat orders and so forth. So it's been getting my time, which I ultimately knew when I first got into buying plants that I did not want anything difficult because I know how my life is. I am a person who, I don't know if anybody watches Family Guy, but I am the Peter Griffin when he goes all the way in on something. That's the way I am. I watch something like, that's what I'm going to do, and I'll go all the way through and completely tap out and go for it. I knew, though, when I got into this, it was something that was a little bit different. I wanted to get as many plants as fast as I could, right? But I wasn't trying to rush to completion because it is no end to this. But when I ran across when exploring different type of plants was that, you know what, Shawn, you just don't want any difficult plants right now. You just don't. You want plants that are easygoing. You want plants that are forgiving, plants that if you do them wrong, cut off the part that you did wrong and just get it right. That's the type of plants I need. I don't need one who I forget to water it, now poof, it's done. I don't need those responsibilities right now. I have 2 kids to have to worry about and a wife, you know what I mean? So my brain doesn't need to be trying to play these games. I just want some, just some help if I can meet you halfway. So this, speaking and doing all that, as you can tell, these English ivies, they are not probably for me because I have to give them a little bit more care to them than I usually do. However, I do feel like this is a good stepping stone into getting into those other type of plants. I've talked about it several times. Y'all know I want to explore some anthuriums and some alocasias. Well, in order for me to explore and to do that, I got to make sure I have it down, and I'm going to have to give it a little bit more care than what I just do with my philodendrons and my pothos and my monsteras. Now, I believe I do a pretty decent job with them. I really do. I give them everything that's required. You know, it's no science to it. I'm not doing anything special over here. Now, one thing I am doing special, which I keep on telling you, I give them that vitamin, that super thrive, and that water sometime, and I give them food. Okay, like a fish food fertilizer type thing, liquid form. I give that to them in just about every watering. Now, I will be frank with you. I haven't gave them the food over the past 4 weeks, and that was only because I've been watering with the Super Thrive with the vitamins. Because it's a big thing of you don't want to fertilize your plants over the winter time and so forth. And you know what? I'm not a person, you remember I just started fertilizing my plants on a routine schedule, I think like earlier last year. And so I feel like if I fertilize my plants during that spring and that summertime, I believe that they're going to be fine. Now, I will say this, when I do a repot of a plant, like I just did the repot of these right here, when I get ready to water the plant again, not this time though, but the next time I water, I will be using fertilizer in there, just to kind of get it in there and get it working. Yes, I know the soil is fresh that I put into it, but I need my plants to go ahead and start adapting to what's going on. Now, if I see them start turning a little bit yellow and so forth, I know what it is. I know it's because I gave them some fertilizer and maybe it was too strong for the most part. I do measure it out effectively. I don't try to play that eye game. If you play that eye game, you can really mess some stuff up. Unless it's something like you need just some type of water put in a bottle and so forth, then that's a little bit different. But actual powder forms, just do yourself a service and kind of measure it out. And it's better to go with a little bit less than's recommended than to go with more, depending on what you buy. For the most part, I don't buy anything that is expensive, nor I catch the replay. How long have you had that ivy? I killed 2 of mine and gave up after that. Then I've had this ivy for about 2 years now. Now the plant was a lot bigger than this one. Uh-oh, I missed one message. I like English ivy, but seems hard to keep indoors. Correct. That's exactly what we're getting into. Okay, so everybody, okay, so y'all feel me. You get this, you understand what this is like. Okay, so I bought this plant, and it was huge when I bought it. It was in like an 8-inch pot, flowing over. I thought I was the man. I put that plant right here on this stand. It was about, I would say probably about the size of this stool right here, where the plant would just sit on there and it would just fall all over. You know, I would record that thing. I would have the steam humidifier going, everything. Get the perfect shot because I had that plant. It was a bad plant. And then slowly but surely, it started getting a little bit shorter, until the plant was just sitting at the little top like this until I had to remove it. You know, it wasn't doing any good. This plant is a lot more difficult to keep than just your pothos and so forth, and I don't like it because I don't feel like we really talk about it a whole lot. And people who keep plants don't really talk about how difficult this plant is in the transition from caring from a pothos and a philodendron. And that's just, these plants are a little bit more sensitive to cold weather like giraffes. They do need a lot of light. They need more light than your standard philodendrons and pothos if you truly want to bring out those variegation colors. And even if your plant is full green, the more light, the faster it's going to grow. Probably the bigger the leaves are going to get and the healthier it's going to look, of course. And the soil. You do not need to put these in a chunky mix. When I bought the plant, though, they actually did have it in something like a peat moss type thing. But I was going through that phase where everything gets a chunky mix, until I found out not everything needs a chunky mix. And then I had to start kind of bringing that back. Chunky mixes are great, they're good, and guess what? You can make your mix as chunky as you want it to be if you're really going to be able to keep up with the water. But just remember, the more chunky your mix is, the faster the water is going through that plant. So if you have this chunky mix out, I don't know, you have some 45% orchid bark, and then you have 35% perlite and a little bit of indoor pot mix, well, you could very well water that plant on Monday and it'd be completely empty by Wednesday, going like that, you know? So then you learn how much indoor mix to throw in, or some people use the koi in their mix, and I told you some people are using complete soilless mixes. I haven't got that brave yet. When I do, I'm gonna experiment and we'll go through it together. But I don't need those stresses right now. But yeah, and it was in a really good mix like that, but I went through the phase, wanted everything chunky, and that's what I learned. So that's why this time when we did the repot, remember I kept a lot of the soil that was in there, and I even added in a little bit more indoor mix just to make sure that this soil is going to be able to retain its moisture. So we're going to be good. This plant now, they're going to be getting a good watering, and they should be fine. We shouldn't have any type of browning issues going on. Now, what I need to do is find out and see when a plant is like this, in my opinion, the best thing to do, the leaves are all the way down here. Now we could propagate this plant in between. I'm just not into doing all that. So what we're gonna do, cut it as close to the base as possible and just get rid of it. Another one to shoot from or will grow beside it. It's gonna encourage. Usually when you cut one, you get two. That's usually what happens. I don't like that leaf, but the other leaves look pretty good, so I'll make a deal with the bald head down here. Get rid of that. Some of these are so frail, you can just pull them off. That one, I try to pull it off. Now this one right here, I'm cutting halfway. That's a watering issue. I can just tell by the leaves. So you can tell by the text or the feel of a leaf if the yellowing or if it's dry or if it's overwatering. Now when you feel a leaf and it starts doing this, you hear that crisp? That leaf is dry. Okay, so that means you got a watering issue going on. Now if I was to feel that leaf and it would be real rubbery, then your watering issue going on is most of the time you're overwatered. Now, you also could have over-fertilized your plants as well. Okay, so that happens too. You can either overwater your plant or you can, it's actually several things really. You can overwater your plant, you could have over-fertilized your plant, or you could be dealing with a root-bound plant and it's time to do a repot. Because remember, when you water your plant and you start to see some yellowing going on the very next day, and you do everything you normally do for your plant and you've never had these type of things going on, it's time for you to go ahead and repot your plant. I've had that happen to me on several occasions, and that's why I had to move them out of the self-watering containers onto bigger containers. And my issue now is that I really want to get my philodendrons, keep them in self-watering containers because I just do a much better job on taking care of them. So that's what the goal is for that. But anyway, let's get back to our English ivy. This plant, again, you do need to make sure it does not dry out completely. The leaves will turn brown, and that's the end of them. We was talking about the overwatering part. You can overwater, which gives you yellow. Your plant could be completely like just dried out, but usually it goes from it doesn't turn a rubbery yellow. It'll go ahead and just start browning. And it'll start browning at the tips. So you really have a chance when you messing up with your plant with drying. That's why I always say, I would rather have my plant sit too dry than too much water in it. Because you can kind of revive a plant. I mean, you can't have it bone dry for months at a time. But if you forget about it for a little while, you can give it some water and then bounce back. If you give that plant too much water, you can't really suck the water back out the soil. You know what I mean? So you're kind of stuck with it. Now, what I would recommend that you do, if you do by chance overwater your plant, I would get it as closest to a grow light as possible or to a window where it can really just get as much as it can to help that soil works. Let's see what it is. Thanks, Dion. Makes help with my white mud. I appreciate it much. That's what's going on. That's what's up, Clifford. I'm glad it helped. I'm glad it helped. It took me a while to learn how to do some of that stuff, but I'm telling you, and I like the fact that you don't have to pay a whole lot of money to do that. You know, everybody has an angle. You know, I like to sell stuff too. I'm trying to sell shirts, but when I'm not, if there's other ways and cheaper ways to do something that's going to help and benefit your life, then that's what you need to do. I'm a person who I can't help it. I got to buy some plants. I'm doing my best to stay out of some plant nurseries right now because one of my friends is actually opening up her plant nursery in about a month. Maybe it might be shorter than a couple of weeks. I haven't been doing a really good job with keeping up with every day going on, but anytime I see a major announcement, I'm like, okay, we're getting closer. I'm keeping my tail out the nursery so I have some money to be able to spend in her store. And what was I saying? Lost my thought. Just like that. Spending money, going to the nursery. Oh, yeah, and I don't have time to be putting all that money towards expensive plant care stuff that actually don't work. Does one thing and then hurts something else. I don't like the way that one looks either. All right, so now what we're going to do, I don't know if this is large enough to house all of them. I hope it is. Skip right here. And right here. Got it? And we're going to get some Super Thrive to put inside of here. I went ahead and filled 2 jugs up of water because I need to go around the room and do some type of watering. Anxieties and divas, heavy fees, and a lot of light. Always be my baby. What's going on, Mark? I appreciate that. Yeah, for real. I didn't know anything about it. All I knew was that they was pretty, and that's what happens when I go into the store and I impulse buy. That's why I tell y'all, don't go in there just saying I'm gonna buy whatever. Hit that Google. Know what it is you're gonna buy so you can get there and get focused. Now, once you get there and you get the plant that you went there to get, and something wanders your eye, I can't help you with that. But I ended up buying something just because it was beautiful. And I'll be dagged on if I haven't done more work to this plant than I have in any of my other plants. But when this plant looks healthy, guys, it's beautiful. And I mean, it can grow. And that's really what I want. Like my Raphadophia back there, it's time for me to, I keep on saying I need to attach it to that wall, but I actually love the way that it's coming, like falling down. I'm hoping that it just starts dropping and growing down. And if so, I can keep everything in the frame. I was going to take it over there, and it could be a goal of mine, but I'm thinking maybe I can get something else to maybe grow on the wall. I don't know what, but something to grow. I don't want it to be a pothos. I don't think, even though I know they will look really beautiful going up there. But I like going to Lowe's and get their clearance. Yes, Cliff, I actually, I don't know if you was in the live the other day. Let me see, where is it at? Back here. I actually ended up buying a plant out of clearance from Lowe's the other day. So, now this is a philodendron Salome. Right here, type in philodendron, tree philodendron, and then you'll see Salome beside it. It's several different ones. And they actually have said, when I looked up to learn how to pronounce some of these names, they call it something else. Now, there's no way in the world I can pronounce that word. It's a philodendron, boompalpia, something like that. And that's what this plant's technically called. But if you type in the philodendron Salome, it'll pop this one up. So I was just in there, just seeing what I could find, for a deal. And they had a lot of plants that was on clearance. Well, that plant wasn't on clearance, but it looked like it needed to be on clearance. So I went up to the front and I asked her, I'm getting ready to put Super Thrive in here, guys. Make sure you use room temperature water, okay? You don't want to shock your plants. But yeah, I took that plant up to the customer service lady. I was like, hey, it looks like this plant isn't doing too good. Can we mark it down? She was like, I'll see what I can do. She already knew she could do it, but I didn't know that. So she went all into the computer, boop, 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 typed it in, gave me 50% off. I said, okay, I can make that work. So when I did, I brought it home. I used to say let the plant sit for a couple of days, but it was pretty bad, and I definitely inspected that plant up and down to make sure there was no type of pest going on. I was all in that plant. Plus, with the leaves like that, it makes it very easy to check. When you are dealing with like your pothos or your plants that have like that tighter little space that the leaf kind of leaves off the stem, it's hard to spot every single bug going on. But when they're like big leaf plants, it's pretty easy to look a leaf up and go from there. Now, that plant just was dried out, and on top of that, I believe they had them outside when it was starting to get cold with the heaters and probably wasn't working and so forth. We just had a lot of snow to come through, and in North Carolina, when snow comes through, everything shuts down. So I believe that was probably some issues going on. Probably that's why they had all their plants inside and why they was trying to mark down as much as they could. But yeah, so that plant was about double that size. And I even cut down the pot. The pot was in a big 10-inch pot or a 1.5 gallon pot. I cut it halfway because after I did cut the plant all the way back, it's a lot smaller. And when I got in there, I saw that the roots, it would have had just as much space as it needed for it to be able to grow and get large if I cut it down versus leaving it large. And doing a repot, I did not want to put that much soil back in there because based off of those roots, it didn't need that. And again, when you buy these plants and the nurseries, they've been inside these greenhouses, plants can pretty much grow in any type of condition. Yang Thomas, good morning. What's going on? That's all it means 99% of the time. It just need to be watered. That's it. That's it. That's what I'm saying. And sometimes it kills me when I see people overcomplicate things or say you need to have this and you need to have that. You don't. Now, I will say simple things you need. You need to have your grow light because your plants are always going to need light, and the more light you can give your plant, the better. If your plants are doing good right now and you don't have them with the grow light, if you get you a grow light, I guarantee you they're going to do great. Just saying. Now, if you do get that grow light, keep in mind that your plant's gonna suck in that water a little bit more, so you're gonna have to increase your watering if you do that. Now, by no means am I telling you to get a grow light. I'm just saying, if your plant's doing good by the window, you're happy with it, you're saying, hey, these results are perfect for me, this is what I want, hey, don't do it. But if you want to see your plant do the best that they can do, get them a grow light. I don't even have my plants in the best of grow lights, okay? I know there are better, higher beams that can shine and be a little bit brighter, but again, what works for me in my room, it works for me in my room, and once I'm ready to move up, I've been doing my research and I've been taking a look at them, and I'm thinking so far the Baranias, I believe that's how you say it, the Baranias, those lights are kind of catching me because I see different type of styling you can get done with them. Now they also have, it's another brand that's Sanji, that I like because they're actually like bulbs, and you can just put those bulb in lamp holders and so forth. So me, I'm always thinking about being thrifty. I'm like, instead of buying a whole thing to stand up that I would probably have to pay a lot for, what if I just go somewhere like Home Goods or Marshalls, and you gotta watch that sometime because the stores that are supposed to be discount don't really be that much of a discount. But if I can go there and catch some stands, or maybe I can go to the what's the Home Habit store. Maybe I can go there and see if they just have some stands that are there, like light bulbs, three-way. And I will buy the Sansi light bulbs and just put those bulbs in there, and they'll do the same thing. And then, of course, if I could find those at a real good sale, then I would just get some spray paint and paint those all the way outside before I bring them into the room so they look good. Yeah, Barina have really good ones. I have Sansi grow lights and those bulbs where I put. See, so I told y'all I did some research. I knew I was on to something. I mean, plus a lot of the Instagram influencers, they push them, which I know when influencers, I had to read through the crap sometimes, but if you see a whole lot of people pushing something, it's actually proof that it does work because it's just too many pushing it. But it's like, do you need it and do you want it? You know what I mean? If you need it, perfect opportunity. I'm so glad that you're doing it. And before I buy products, I'm not gonna lie, I go to the influencer pages, or I'll go see if somebody recommended. But I'm gonna tell you the truth. This is how I take care of my plants, and I would suggest you do it too. If you're a person on Instagram or rely heavily on social media to learn how to care for your plants, I gather my information from seeing what the influencers do, right? And sometimes I'll experiment on a plant. I don't tell anybody what I'm doing. I'm just trying it out to see if it's going to work, because you're not going to catch me slipping. And if it works, but maybe it feels like something else could be done, then I'll give it another try, and I'll see what's going on. But if it starts to give me some problems, if something like that don't work, I reach out to people who, yes, they are on social medias, but they was growing plants way before Facebook and Instagram was even thought about being in existence. And the only reason why they have these pages is probably so they can stay in contact with their family and their friends for real, like the ones that, they just move away that they can't see anymore. So I asked them about the information too, just to get a double fact book check, because Google works good if you have absolutely no knowledge of what it is that you're walking into, and I'm not going to act like it didn't help me out a lot. It did. But sometimes you run across things that only a person who has gone through and grown that plant is really going to be able to understand what's happening. Like, I remember if somebody was to say, hey, I have these grow lights, I'm putting my plants under here, and my plants start turning like a yellowish, fiery red color. And first thing I'm going to tell them is, what kind of grow lights do you have? Do you have it set on a fruits and vegetable one? Because that's what happened to me. I didn't know anything. I talked about it. I bought those grow lights. This is when I first started buying grow lights, and I thought that, all of them work the same. The settings of them are different, and they said fruits, vegetables, flower, and all that. I didn't know it was a switch to turn it different colors. So I plugged it up, and I said, boom, okay, let's go. First of all, I had these plants sitting this close to the grow light, so they're baby plants. Do you think that was smart? Probably not. Second thing, I had the plants sitting on the fruit and vegetable setting and not actually the bright light that's set on the white light for it. So, you know, it does make a difference. It does. I am a person who have grown a lot of plants, but I can't grow a begonia to save my life. That's another plant that I want to move back on because I love those little ugly things. Now, I know that's wrong to say because not all begonias are ugly. Now, that begonia, I'm talking about the real ugly ones that just catch your eye. I like to get those too. I had one of them here, and oh my goodness, it was so ugly. It was actually beautiful. It really was. It had like a dark opening to it, but then it turned like orange or red, and it just was so odd and a bizarre looking plant. And you find that if you really get into begonias and you get past the angel wings, they're beautiful, and the polka dots, they're beautiful. And the plant that I really want is that exotica. Now it's a begonia berugula, something like that, exotica. Okay, if you type that in, now that is a plant I want. I wanted it so bad. I bought that plant. Thought that I could actually save the plant after it started doing bad. Watering issue. Begonias need to be watered, and they also need high humidity. I, at the time, was not aware of that, so I didn't have enough sense to put them into an actual light cabinet and a greenhouse. So by the time I did give it a little bit of light, the light that I got smart enough to give was just by the window. And it just didn't do good. And it's not the first begonia I lost. Now, that's the first begonia I lost that I paid a lot of money for. I think I spent like $65 on that one. It was a pretty good size. It was about like a six inch, I would say, or at least a 4-inch, but it was coming out the 4-inch, need to be repotted very soon. And I believe I did do a repot, and that probably was a little bit more where I messed up too, because I gave that sucker a chunky mix. Remember, everything gets chunky. And when I did that, the plant just dried out for me not really watering the plant as much as I should. And then doing a repot and putting that plant that does not want to be in a chunky mix like that in a chunky mix just didn't work too good in my favor, and that's what it is. All right, I don't know where the lid is at, so I'm gonna have to hit the handshake. And that is not getting around good, is it? That is. All right. Woo. Let's put on a little bit of water. I did see a message up on the screen too. I think of it. Never seen it grow. I make my begonias ugly along with calatheas and alocasias. My calathea hasn't been giving me a hard time because I've been keeping it in a self-watering pot. So take a look at it. You know what I mean? And I'm not doing anything special. Self-watering pot. Now I did do a repot on this about 2 weeks ago, so the top of the soil is like extra moist. I'm not concerned about it because it's not like soggy, like mushy, but I still feel the moisture in it. But I know it's gonna eventually dry out. But self-watering pots will probably help. Now I don't know about alocasias, I know nothing about them, but I'm guessing self-watering pots seem to be the key to a lot of stuff. Seems to be. Especially for somebody if you're like an underwaterer like me. All right, and I'm just going through here and I'm just putting Super Thrive in here, guys. And these again are the English ivies. And they do like their soil to be moist but not soggy. What does that mean? It means when you touch it, when you touch the soil, it should feel a little damp, but you shouldn't feel like a puddle. You shouldn't be able to see the water from the pot. You know what I mean? All right, and this has some water right here, and usually what I allow this to happen is to sit here for the next 30 minutes to an hour, 2 hours, and then I just empty that out and they're gonna be good to go. Now we're gonna be putting these under some type of grow light in here. I'm gonna have to figure out which one. I had to change my room setting around a little bit because I think you can see here. Yeah. Over here, right here, all back here, all these plants are supposed to be all against the wall, but they're too big now. So that's where they're gonna have to sit. I'm going to have to adjust the let's come over here. I'm gonna have to adjust the grow lights somehow because they're not gonna be able to sit like this. So I'm probably gonna bring the grow lights from here all the way on just out here, so that way all the plants can just sit and start coming out as they need to. And that's why I don't need to be getting any more plants because of that. But y'all know I'm buying some plants this summer, so we can go ahead and hang that up. We will cut and we will adjust, okay? We will make it happen. I don't care. I will. Everybody getting a plant. You know what I mean? Everybody getting one. I'm not going to slow down. Now, I am going to go around here later on this afternoon and finish watering my plants. I do expect to see some really cool things going on in here. I do. I don't. I mean, I can show you. All right, I'm gonna flip the camera for y'all. All right, so just showing you the cabinet right here. I was saying I do need to get in here and do another alcohol spray, but this one did wake up. This is my spider fireflash. I don't know what was going on. There was some brown going on in the center, and I'm like, okay. So I got rid of it. I kind of just pulled it, and boom, here we are. Now, I still have some mealybugs going on back here, but I did that other spray, and as you can see, the plants are really clearing up. That Anasana right there is so beautiful, and that's the healthiest that plant has ever looked since I bought it. Now, when I bought it, of course, the plant looked beautiful, but it slowly just started kind of declining and losing its green, and now we're here to say they need high humidity and bright light, and they do really well. Now, I'm not saying when we take this out, which I'm worried about when I take this out, that the plant won't do as well, but I am gonna have to make sure it's around a grow light. Now, I can't do much for humidity because unless I run a humidifier over there by it, it's just gonna have to adjust. Now, my neon pothos back there, that one right there came back with the most aggressive amount of mealybugs. Other plants, I don't even see mealybugs on there. On there, I do see a few here, none here, of course none there, and I don't believe it's any back here. So the treatment is working. What am I using? Rubbing alcohol, okay? Now, before, I'm gonna disclose with you, when I did the repotting of the plants after I cut them down, I did use systemic house plant, and not systemic, sorry, not on that one. Put that cord there. I used the SNS 203 right here. This is what I used when I did the repot, and I was just spraying the bodies on here. Now, I do believe that if you run this effectively, if I had continued just running it probably another 2 or 3 weeks, that this would have took care of all the mealybugs. Now, how this benefits is that this actually helps in case they're laying the eggs or anything into the soil. So you use this in combination with your spraying alcohol. Now, the spraying alcohol works really good on contact, okay? So just imagine like your bugs and all that, they're walking on a leaf, that alcohol hits them, dries them out instantly, they're done, poof, okay? But if they already went down there and laid some eggs, those eggs are gonna hatch. And when they do, you can have some problems. So this right here helps get inside of that. Now, the benefit of this, which why I love it, is that you could put it in a spray bottle, you can spray it on the leaves, or you could put it into some water and you could pour it. Make sure you follow your rule of measurement. I think it's like 4 tablespoons to a gallon. 1 gallon, yeah, well, mix 4 to 8 tablespoons of 2 to 4 ounces in a gallon of water. So this works good. I got it from Amazon. It's a little fairly on the expensive side, but it's all natural or organic is how it's presented for organic gardening. So yeah, so I'll send you that so you can take a look. Now, one thing you can always do if you have a question or you just want to know what it is that I actually use inside of my plant room, I usually do a good job of putting it in my Amazon store. Now, if you go into the Amazon store, again, it's your money. So if you go into there and you feel like I spend too much money on that, you don't have to go with that. Use it as a measurement though, like get something close to around that. I feel like I go as cheap as I possibly can with getting the stuff that I need. But I also understand that not everybody has the same environment to grow their plants in. So some needs may be different. Where I don't live in a real cold state or something like that where I need to heavily invest in warm humidifiers and such. So of course I'm not going to recommend or just say, hey, use this humidifier because it gives out this much heat and all this. I wouldn't recommend that because it's not going to be beneficial for me. However, if you do see something like, hey, a humidifier or something, then you know, like, we're on to something, just maybe on different. And you also can ask me any type of questions. I'm pretty transparent in what I use. If a plant dies, it died, and that's just what it is. I mean, we lose some sometimes. I try to do my very best to not lose any, though, but unfortunately, it comes with it. Sometimes, or most of the time, it's self-inflicted. I will forget to water it. That's the most common one. The second thing is I just didn't realize the plant was as complicated as it was. And I go through phases when that happens. When a plant starts dying, first thing I go to is, I shouldn't have bought this plant. Then the second thing is, why is it dying? And then the third phase is, okay, well, what do I need to do? Sometimes I just need to go ahead and hop straight to the first one. To the third one, but it is what it is. Yeah, guys, if you all don't have any questions or anything, I'm gonna go ahead and get back to knocking out a couple of orders so I can do my best to finish for the day. I told my wife I don't really like to do work on Sunday because that allows me to get here in my plant room, and I had a couple of videos and stuff I need to show. Like, I really enjoy doing the 30 to 45 seconds of how to care for this. I feel like it allows me to say what I need to say. You all know I can be a little lengthy sometimes. So when I have that long form video, I could talk. And I am going to be coming back with long form videos. I'm just going to be taking my time and make sure that I have some really good videos I can really go in depth and really talk about some things instead of just going off site. You know what I mean? Let me see. I saw some words pop up on the screen. Let's see what it is. I'm going down to Charlotte at the end of the month. Gonna steal all your plants. That's funny. Oh, that's funny. I'm telling you, you know I have another leaf and I am so interested. Look, I was about to get off, but you know how to hype a plant person up, right? Say something about their plants. All right, so this is my nuclear green Congo. I have another leaf coming in, guys. I wonder what it's gonna be. So this time I'm gonna do my best to make sure it doesn't run out of water, which the soil is moist, but this is actually empty. So you know what I'm gonna go ahead and do? Let's see here. Let me take a look at the soil. First thing is I make sure the soil doesn't look moldy. Take a look here. Roots here. We already got some roots coming out of here. No time for a repot. But I am curious to see what this leaf is going to look like. I'm going to make sure it doesn't run out of water because remember I had to help this leaf out. Nope, sorry. We had to help this leaf out. Such a tease. I just purchased one of those. You in for a treat. You in for a treat. I'm telling you. Now the only plant, it's only one plant. Well, no, I'm not going to say one. But the only plant that gives this one a run for money. Any issues with yours? No, not yet. Now, I will say this. Keep an eye on it when it comes to water, depending on what size is it. Now, I bought my plant at a 4-inch, and I had some issues. I repotted it in a real chunky mix, and it wasn't doing as well as it should have. I dealt with like some soft leaves going on, and then I really couldn't get a high variegation out of it. And I think it's because philodendron, like hybrid philodendrons, I feel like they don't like to dry out as much in between watering, so keeping them with a little bit of water in them kind of helps them out some. And I noticed that when I moved mine to the self-watering container, that the plant naturally just got better. It felt like it actually started to grow because it was growing kind of slow. Well, you can see up into this leaf right here, like every leaf was pretty a little boring. And not boring as in the plant isn't beautiful, it's just it wasn't giving anything spectacular, and I think it was because I just hadn't nailed it right. Thanks for the advice. Of course. Now I'm still learning myself, so you know, next month something could be different. But so far, what helped it was putting it in a self-watering container, not letting it dry all the way out, and boom, putting it by some grow light. Now I will say that I moved this plant closer to a grow light, and that's how I got this leaf. Complete accident. I just moving my plants around, need to put plants in different places, and I say, you know what, I'm just gonna stick you here. Because up until then, I had this plant sitting kind of like on a shelf right here, and the grow light was probably about this far from it. So it's not like my grow lights are the brightest lights anyway, so it wasn't getting the light it needed. So I moved this one now. It's right here by this plant, by this grow light, and it's basically kissing the leaf, and it loves it. So self-watering container, close to a grow light, and you win the money. Of course, you want to actively feed your plant too. Oh, see, told y'all every time we get on here, wild things happen. That scared me. All right, let's make sure we turn this the right way. What was I talking about? That leaf fell off the wall right there. It scared me. But yeah, that's what I did for it. So that's my pink in the very, ooh. Now, I will say that I thought, now my leaf never unfurled, so yours may be more mature than mine. Mine has never gave me the pink color, but when I look under the leaf, I can see the pink. I'll see this on this one. Let's see. So you can almost see, I don't know if we call it pink, but right here for mine, this color right here. And I always get teased because I think the way that stem is coming, I'm like, and you can even look here, it looks like it's gonna be some pink or some orange or something, right? And nope, it just hits mine with the green when it comes out. It's still very beautiful. It looks like I have a little dot of pink right there. That little bitty dot is a pink color, and I think this is dry, or is that pink? We don't know what that is. We're just gonna let that be. But yeah, I never get the pink to come all the way through. Gosh, that's gotta be beautiful. You gotta show me that plant one day. Gotta teach this one what to do. It's some other type of nuclear Congos too, though. I think it's a red Congo too. I saw somebody with it, and that's a very beautiful one too. Now, I don't know if it's any other type of variations of ones that are out here. I just saw that one I was on an auction, and it popped up. He usually sells a lot of anthuriums, but every once in a while he'll sell some philodendrons. And once I was coming into the room like every Wednesday to buy plants, he used to keep them. I haven't really seen a lot of them, and I think it's because most people are there for the anthuriums, but I love this philodendrons. That's where I got my Pluto from. That's all the way up, turn it that way. My Pluto that's back there, it was sold as a reverted caramel marble philodendrons, and I didn't know, I really didn't know the name. I didn't know the name was a Pluto in case if it doesn't variegate or it reverts back, then that's what it ends up being. So it was odd for me to name that plant, and I didn't really talk about it a whole lot. I mean, because I didn't know really what to call it. Because every time I would present the plant, I would present it as, well, this was supposed to be a caramel marble, but this is what it came by. Kind of like I'm throwing dirt on it before I introduce it, and that wasn't the case. It's just, I didn't know what to do. But now I've done several posts. I'm like, this is my philodendron Pluto. But yeah, so that's why I bought my Congo from. That's why I bought a lot of my the strawberry shake. That's another plant that I was talking about, that you're in a room of surprises if you have one or don't have one. Let me show that one to y'all right quick. I know you hear a lot of people talk about them because they are a very popular plant. Now, I will say that they are difficult though to grow. I'm not saying impossible, but they are a little bit, they do require a little bit more. I do that all the time with the plant names. I'm telling you, got to. All right, so this right here is the philodendron strawberry shake, okay? And the reason why I say that this is a fun plant is because you never know what you're gonna get, okay? Now, you may get a leaf that's supposed to come out that gets stuck. You know, I'm gonna spray some water on it, and this another leaf stuck. Now, as you can tell, this is a humidity issue in here. I don't want to run my humidifier for reasons of, about 2 years ago, I ran my humidifier, and once I stopped running the humidifier, it was about springtime, I dealt with a lot of yellowing. And my house is usually dry for the most part all year, but because I just wanted to follow the rule and get a humidifier because everybody was suggesting it and saying it, that's what I did. And I believe that it caused my plants to kind of, they got this perfect environment. Humidity is up, the heat's coming out, so everything is good and warm. And then soon as springtime hit, I get hot fast, so I run air conditioning a lot. That cool air started working in on them, and I took the humidity away from them and threw them kind of into probably a 7 or 8 degree shock. And you throw in humidity, who knows what else it stressed them out with. And my plants started doing a lot of yellowing. And yeah, I don't want to go through that again. So last year I didn't run the humidifier, and this year I'm refusing to run the humidifier. And I guess the strongest will survive. I do have a couple of them in a plastic bag, but some of these plants too big. I can't put in a plastic bag. This one right here, if you're talking about this one in the plastic bag, which I believe you are, what kind of plastic bags? Like, where do I get them from? Now, I'm not afraid to use Amazon. So if you know on Amazon, and what size would we go with? I know we probably need to go with a 5-gallon. You think? Because you're absolutely right. Garbage bag. The clear one. See, I'm supposed. Oh. Small trash bag. Okay, I can do that. I appreciate that. I do. Lord, I thought you was talking about the for all the plants that was in here. I'm like, I can't put all those plants in no bag, but no, that makes sense. You inspired me to get the Fiddling Cocoa Empress Pluto. Oh, Gigi, you will not be disappointed. I'm telling you, the way those leaves curl up, that's what I like about it. I can't stop talking about it. When it was a small plant, like the leaves were kind of like, they still was a little bit jaded, but it was like a little bit fatter, like wider. But as the plant grows up, it seemed like the leaf kind of narrowed out a little bit, and they almost look like they really can be sharp and rigid. I just think it's a cool plant. And yes, I will get a clear one. Thank you for that recommendation. I really appreciate that. I love this plant. I went to one of my local nurseries and they had one. It didn't look as beautiful as this. It was okay. And they was charging $135 for it. And I came home cheap on Amazon. You already know I'm gonna order it from Amazon, because if I go into a store to get that, I'm gonna walk out with more stuff. I know myself. But I can go straight in on Amazon, get what I need. Amazon will try to get me and tell me I left something in my cart last month. I do my best to try to delete it, but they get you sometimes. They show that whole price drop, that something dropped a whole 3 cents, and now all of a sudden you need it. But yeah, I went to the local nursery and I saw this plant. It was on a stem, not this one in particular, and $135. I just wanted the plant so bad that I would be willing to pay for it. But I remember my wife telling me, you better not spend no money if you go to the store, because I had just went to the store the day before and had already double spent what I told her I was going to. And then I told her I was just going to go out to look. And she was like, and I listened to her because she meant busy. Now, sometimes she'll say, and I know I can do it, but she was serious about that. I was kind of shocked. I got off kind of easy off of what I spent. So, yeah. I went in there and I saw they had it for $135. I came home and I told my wife, I was like, they had my dream plant that I want. She was like, really? He did that. Every plant's your dream plant. I was like, well, I mean, they had this one. I really wanted this one. She was like, of course you really want it. How much was it? And I told her, she was like, I'm going to tell you this. If you go and get that plant, then I don't want you saying nothing about my Amazon packages that are coming in. Now, I'm going to tell you another trick to the story why it stuck with me more. Hey, my wife got me on the embroidery machine. Now, she came to me and she told me, she said, I think we all can buy whatever it is that we want to buy. She was like, what do you think you need to get that you really been wanting? And I was like, shoot, I don't know, but I'm going to need some money. She was like, okay, how much money do you think you're going to need? Me, because, I do pretty good on budget and so forth. I wanted to throw out an impossible number, $1,500. She was like, well, we have been working hard. I think that's deserving. So I took my money, went on, didn't question, didn't care. Yo, she calls me. I'm in the garage, right, doing a repotting of a plant. She called me. She was like, "Hey, I'm just letting you know. Speaking of embroidery, how do I buy that shirt for me and a few of my friends?" Hey, I appreciate that. It's on grownontuesday.com. Grown on Tuesday. So grown on and Tuesday.com. Yeah, yeah. And it's a lot. It's a lot on there. So if you have a question with something, I also have Instagram is Grown on Tuesday as well. So of course I'll be able to respond on there as well. Um, yeah. So I'm sitting there. Yeah, talking about embroidery. Sitting there, and next thing I know, she's like, "Well, just expect the truck is about to come by and they're gonna drop a package off." I'm like, "Oh, it's weird." She's like, "You just have to sign for it." I mean, I still didn't think nothing of it. No, this truck, it wasn't an 18 wheeler, but what's the one smaller than an 18 wheeler? It's carrying this cargo thing, and he gets out, has this huge box. "You Mr. Somerville?" I'm like, yeah. "I need you to sign here." Okay. I sign there. Next thing I know is this big crate rolling up on the garage. Now I will say this, the box was way oversized than what it needed to be. Yeah, I didn't know what in the world it was. But it still was huge. You know, it had the whole little pallet at the bottom, the plastic on the outside that you got to cut through 4 layers of plastic and all that. And long story short, she ended up buying an embroidery machine, which fast forward, she used it to get started on what we have now, the company. So she actually did build an investment. But I guess it kind of like I just took the money and kind of played with it when you think about it like that. But yeah, that's what happened when we came into with the embroidery with the machine. That might be a good story. But I definitely am gonna put this. I'm gonna put this plant right here. Reason why, so that way when I walk in here and I see it, I'll do a reminder. I do need to grow. I do need to get those bags. I'm actually gonna go ahead and order it now. But guys, if if anybody's interested in purchasing anything, you can head to grownontuesday.com. Now, it's not just plant lover stuff that's there too. We also have a pretty cool mental health section as well. Now, I'm not the best seamstress on the actual sewing machine. Now, I can run the crap out of our embroidery machine, but on the actual like sewing machine, I'm still learning on that. But let me tell you what I did. I did make a pillow, so it's not that hard to learn, okay? But I haven't done like the actual like bookcases. My wife is making like the book sleeves and all of that on there. So all of that stuff on there really is handmade. We went to the store, picked out the fabric. If you do want to know how the company is doing and growing, I started the Grown on Tuesday Instagram, and that's just for me to put like the product out there that I'm making, but also too to kind of like follow me around on the things of how I got to this decision and what I'm making and what stores I'm going to and giving little updates and so forth. Because we're going to be taking this and going to like pop-up events and so forth. So I wanted the opportunity though, so that way people who are online, if they want the opportunity to buy things like this. I mean, I create all of this inside my head. I go to the store, I see fabrics, and I go from there. Your embroidery machine works out well for me. Can't wait to get some cool stuff. I appreciate that. I can't wait. If you have any questions or anything though, please reach out, let me know. And also too, so that way I know it's you. Some people are ordering from me and I don't even know who they are, and I'm not playing favoritism, but to people who I actually know, I will send you something else because I have questions about like a product and so forth. You know, I don't want somebody to buy something from me and I'm asking, "Do you like this? Do you like this?" But you know, after you buy what you like, I usually like to send some stuff to some people that I feel like they can give me some feedback. But like, hey, now most of the stuff that I'm already sending, I'm already sold on adding it to the website. But I always just like to hear like, well, what is it the style or was it just the quality? What was it that you felt like, you know, could have been a little bit different? Because I'm gonna take that idea, and if 2 or 3 people say the same thing, or if one person says something and it completely makes sense,